I'm not going there to die. I'm going to find out if I'm really alive.
Hey, how's it going, guys? JJ Wilson is here, and welcome to another JJ Starwind Corner episode 47. This one is just going to be a little bit off the head because it's been a while since I did another one. From the previous episode, we talked about men in Japan marrying virtual reality characters or anime characters and whatnot. But here, this time around, I'm just going to talk off the dome because it's been a while, I know, and I'm just now coming back from a trip that I made recently, but I'm back at the regular job schedule. So I'm taking the time now to do this audio recording and the latest episode. So basically, I'm just gonna briefly cover the few animes I'm watching, but not like a review, just kind of giving my thoughts, and then we'll talk about sports a little bit, and then I may address the YouTube space, because on one side of the sector of YouTube, when it comes to race, unfortunately, there's too much of a messiah complex. I'll just touch on that very brief. But first, let's talk about anime. So there's two animes I'm watching now after Shenmue is over. The first is Tomodachi Game, and we're halfway through the season. And let's just say a certain character on that show is not into ladies. He prefers his Subway sandwiches with extra cheese, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I was not expecting that move that he did on the protagonist at all. I wasn't expecting that. Wow, yeah, for those that haven't watched Tomodachi Game, it's kind of similar. I've heard comparisons to Squid Game. I've heard comparisons to Darwin's Game, which was another anime, and also Kagegurui, with the card game. Like, the girls playing the cards, and they go through like gambling and debt. And this version of the anime also has gambling and debt in it. So you see a bunch of comparisons already with other shows out here, and it's all these twists and turns, and it's just the shocking revelations of friends kind of getting after one another because they're trying to get out of debt. That's pretty much what the show is all about, and they're still playing this game, trying to get out of debt and everything, and now it's just the two guys in this third game. Just a little spoiler, so yeah. But I didn't expect that twist at all. I did not expect the dude, one of those guys, to literally come out of the closet. That was crazy. That was probably the biggest twist of the whole year so far. And I don't think anything is going to top that. I really don't. If there's another show coming up that's really good and twisted like this, they got to come up with something just as crazy, if not worse. But yeah, anyway, going to Spy X Family. This one's a little bit more popular because it's more family oriented, but it has a lot of action and drama in it. And the latest episode, this little girl Anya showed out, man. Let's just say she is an expert of the knockout game. Yep, that's what it is with her. And like, now that she's in her school or whatever, thanks to her foster parents, now she's trying to make friends, but she's already doing like a pretty bad job at it because she's already not getting along with like the most popular kid in school versus the other girl that is kind of tagging along with her. So on one hand, she's making one friend, but she's making enemies out of the rest of the school, it looks like. So that's why it's wild. But maybe she'll turn it around and then she'll be the top girl of the whole entire school and she'll be irreplaceable. So we'll have to see what happens there. Now, let me talk about sports some. So, thanks to my brother, I was hip to some of these commercials that came out based on the NFL schedule. So each team, I'm not even sure if all the teams have done it because I have not seen every team's schedule release for the National Football League, but they've done all these creative releases of their schedule. You know, for the example, the Packers did like a putt puff golf video game version of their release. The Carolina Panthers did like a retro 90s commercial out of their release, and a couple other people had like guest stars like Stephen A. Smith for the Cowboys and a retired football player, Julius Randle, for the Vikings. And then they had the Lions, they had the cop, the urban survival cop that made those ridiculous suggestions on how to survive, you know, either unlawful arrest or you're trying to get away from bad guys and criminals and stuff like that. So he's showing all these weird, intricate ways you can escape and protect yourself. So it's kind of funny. But probably the best one, or at least the one that really impressed people, was the anime one from the Chargers, where they made all these teams into like different versions of anime shows. That was really cool. That came out of nowhere. So kudos to the Chargers for that. Now let me switch over to basketball. Holy crap, man. Okay, so sadly the Bucks are not in the playoffs anymore. The Celtics actually did it. They beat them in 7 games, and it was hard fought. So they're in the finals along with the Miami Heat. Not as surprising with the Heat because they have been in the finals before 2 years ago, and they managed to maintain most of their players. And now all those guys are healthy. Well, I think they got Kyle Lowry now too, but I think he hasn't been that much of a factor in these playoffs. I could be wrong, but like seriously, like the Miami Heat look pretty good. So we'll see if they can stop the emerging Boston Celtics with their young talent finally starting to play as a solid core. And they were able to do that to beat Milwaukee. Now, granted, the Bucks kind of had a little bit of karma because last year they managed to get past the Brooklyn Nets, and one of their star players, Kyrie Irving, got hurt. So, hang on one moment. All right, I'm back. It was a little interruption. So, yeah, I was talking about the karma with the Bucks. So, it is a little bit of karma on their side because when they beat Brooklyn, they didn't have Kyrie Irving at the time. So, it was just Kevin Durant and James Harden, which still was probably more enough offensive firepower to kind of get over the Bucks, but that wasn't the case. But this time they lost their second best offensive player, talking about Milwaukee Bucks, Chris Middleton. So they didn't have him to kind of help with the scoring load. And I think because of that, they were really missing some 3-point shooting, and that was a killer in that series. So yeah, congrats to the Celtics. Let's see if they can do the same thing against Miami, who I know has a tougher defense as a team. But anyway, switching to the Western Conference, this was the crazy one. This was the shocker here. So basically, the Phoenix Suns let Luka Doncic murph into Larry Bird and Michael Jordan all in one in this series. Like, if you watch the highlights of Game 7, especially with Doncic, just shooting the lights out and crossing dudes up, making them fall. And of course, he's doing the step back like Harden because they're letting so many stars get away with that travel step for the fadeaway jumpers and stuff. Hey, I mean, it is what it is, but I guess it puts butts on the seats and entertains the crowd. But okay. So yeah, I mean, this dude goes off like 27 points in the first half, and then he finished the game with 35, only playing 3 quarters. And you see the score, and it's like they beat him by, over 25, 30 points against the Phoenix Suns. And then there's a clip, shout out to House of Highlights, there was a clip that they did, a short, where once Luka Doncic hit that 3-pointer from the elbow, from the left side elbow, they showed Chris Paul's face. And the look says everything, man. It's like, golly, this is horrible. All-time greats aren't supposed to be only scoring 10 points in an elimination game. They just don't. I mean, I went on Twitter, and like people were going off on Paul, man. One dude said his top 75 stats of all time should be revoked. And then they were making fun of the State Farm commercials that he was in. But yeah, some blades should go on Devin Booker too, man, because I remember they was hyping this guy to be another Kobe and stuff, and I remember like they were calling him MVP one year. He didn't get it, but he was like an MVP candidate one year. And this was like when they went to the finals last season. And I'm like, seriously? Where was this season? Like, the dude didn't play it nearly on the same level as Doncic, okay? But y'all hyping him up to be like a Kobe Bryant-like player. Or whoever was a top scorer at the time back in the 2000s. So, I mean, it's crazy, man. Phoenix is going to have to, like, or the Suns rather, they need to just really go back on the drawing board and reassess how they're going to restructure this team, because I heard a rumor that he might retire Chris Paul, but we don't know for certain. I need to hear it out of his own mouth. I just saw that on Twitter too, and I was like, yeah, I need to hear that from his mouth to really believe that. So, man. But again, all-time greats don't have performances like that, especially in the elimination game. So, yeah, the Mavericks, they're going to play the Warriors, and that was controversial too, because what happened to the Grizzly star player injuring his knee, even though it looked like it was deliberate by the Warrior players. So we'll have to see if they can maintain their dominance against the Mavericks, who are surging right now because of Luka. So we'll have to find out. All right, how much time do I have left here? Okay, 10 minutes. So I didn't really want to touch this subject. I'll just give a brief opinion on it. I'm not even going to name this person's name, but lately on this sector of YouTube, on the manosphere side of things, like, I don't know if anybody's been under a rock, but there's been a prominent YouTuber that passed away earlier this month, and it's just been a suckage fest from what I've been seeing ever since, man, from both the critics and the supporters of this individual. So just based on the stuff that I've learned over time with this guy, to me, he sounded a bit of a shyster. Actually, I think he is a shyster and a con artist. And he certainly wasn't living the kind of lifestyle that he was propping other people to live, just based on his rhetoric. So I think the biggest turnoff from me about that guy, especially before he passed, was he made one live stream to asking that why are guys making like around $40,000 a year trying to travel? Like, as if we're supposed to be flying to other countries rich and flexing and stuff, right? Like, we're supposed to boss and floss, ball till you fall kind of lifestyle, going overseas to different countries. That's how we're supposed to be traveling, according to his logic. And while at the same time he's trying to preach to you to stay here in America and deal with all the bossy, independent style women here, where they can basically just kind of use you whenever they feel like it. So I'm hearing all this, and it's like, yeah, this guy's full of crap. I've seen many travel channels of guys not having any kind of six-figure salary, and yet they're able to travel to various countries and do it cheaply too. So that was probably the biggest turnoff right there. I was like, yeah, forget this guy. So that's kind of my opinion on the matter. It's kind of sad that, like, 2 weeks in, like, people are still trying to talk about this guy. They're still trying to find theories as to what really happened to his death and how he died and all that stuff. So it's just been a circus going around YouTube, as always. But hey, you live and you learn, right? Well, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on what's been going on the past 2 weeks. Let me know what you guys think. I will come up with another episode momentarily. I'll see you all later.